here's my trip to Tasmania. We first got some Wagyu beef pies. They were pretty delicious. After eating that delicious pie, we headed off to the Cradle Mountain tour, where we would be hiking for over 2 hours around the entire lake. But first, we ran into some animals. And a waterfall. Cradle Mountain is about a 2-hour drive from Launceston. It was such a beautiful day, which is rare in this area.
So, we just got into this beautiful lake area and we're just hiking and take a couple photos because it's so beautiful behind me. It's a bit different from New Zealand, but it's still really nice.
What makes this hike unique is every corner you turn. It is a totally different view of the beautiful mountain. Before we arrived at Cradle Mountain, we stopped by a small town and a restaurant called Mures. At Mures, we bought some lunch to bring on the hike. Now I got a beef gravy roll, and it tasted like it sounded. Beef, gravy, and roll. It's not the best sandwich I had, but it was filling, and it was quite flavorless, to be honest.
Turn this shit around, just start at top of yours. It's all you need to do.
We're on our last leg of our trek. And it's been around, say, 2.5 hours, including lunch, but it's been mostly flat ground the whole trek, and then just got super steep all of a sudden. But we're really lucky because out of all the days this month, it was basically rainy. Now it's clear.
After we finished the hike, we ran into the cutest wombats. They're everywhere here in Tasmania, and they're just munching on some grass. Of course I got hungry after the hike, so I had to get some banana bread with butter. It was delicious. Our last stop was the Ashgrove Cheese Shop. There was fresh milk, cheese, and ice cream. It is a dairy lover's dream. Tell me how the ice cream tastes.
So here I got the honey ice cream, and as you can tell there's little bits of honey, and I already tried it, but
Fresh honey.
it's really creamy, and the honey is really like, it's not too strong. The honey is like nicely spread out, which I like, and overall I rated it 10 out of 10.
And I got strawberry and honey flavor. Yum. Good morning. Today we are at the cherry shed. As you can see, there's a giant cherry behind me, and we're going to be eating breakfast here, so let's go inside. The cherry shed was on the way to Stanley Mountain, but if it's not cherry season, which it wasn't, I recommend not to go because there wasn't many cherry options available on the menu. We finally arrived at Stanley Mountain. The trek was hard, but it was short. What made it hard was the steep mountain you had to climb in order to get to the top. So we're currently walking on one of the steepest treks I've ever even walked on. There's an awesome view. And just to put in perspective, my feet are at a complete angle. Hopefully we can reach to the top.
how gorgeous this view is behind me. Oh my god, I'm completely out of breath because it's so freaking steep. We reached the top of the Stanley Volcano Mountain, and this is just gorgeous. You can just see, like, there's only a population of around 400 people here, so that's like basically less than my school. And as we were driving up here, we even saw like signs that said like happy birthday and stuff, which means that the town is super small. And yeah, so we just have like the beach over there, and just like this small town, and there's a couple places to eat, but yeah, the view is just gorgeous.
You can get up and down the mountain by either chairlift or by walking. It was hard going up, so we decided to take the chairlift down. By the time we got back to Launceston, we ate at the Black Cow. It was one of the most delicious meals I've had on the entire trip. It started off with nice sourdough bread, potatoes, a nice juicy ribeye cooked at medium rare, and some sweet potatoes and cauliflower. We ended the meal with a sweet caramel bar. Launceston not only has cute shops, but also cute restaurants. For my last meal, I decided to eat at the Pasta Merchant, which had super cheap and delicious carbonara. After arriving in Hobart, we ate at Roaring Grill for dinner. It was a nice, juicy piece of lamb, yet I believe that New Zealand had better. For dessert, we had a sticky date pudding with vanilla sauce and some ice cream to go along with it. I had studied the entire day, but for dinner I decided to go to Mures Upper Deck, which had melt-in-your-mouth salmon and fresh ceviche, which was delicious. To end off, we had some honey and berry ice cream. On day 5, we headed to Bruny Island, which required us to drive the bus on top of the boat, which I have never done before. Now, if you get seasick, this boat will not be a problem, as the boat is so still it feels like you are on dry land. We made a quick stop at this small beach to eat our oysters and cheese.
Good morning. Today we are on Bruny Island in Tasmania. It's really beautiful. It's almost like untouched beachland because the only people here is our tour group, and we're going to be eating oysters and cheese and bread soon, so I'm excited.
Each kilogram cost $100 for these cheeses, yet it was so worth it as it was creamy and rich.
I have a fresh Pacific oyster from Japan. I just squeezed a little lemon on top of it. I'm just gonna take it all in. This is the least saltiest oyster I've ever eaten. Usually when I eat an oyster it's quite salty and I don't really like it. This just slides down your mouth. Not too oceany. Really delicious.
The true star of this tour was the lighthouse. As you climb up the 74 stairs, it can be scary as they are small and steep. Yet once you exit the lighthouse door, it makes all the climbing worth it.
On top of a lighthouse. I've never been on top of a lighthouse before. And look at this view. It's incredible.
The last stop was the scenic lookout. That was absolutely spectacular. The water was so crystal clear, and it went as far as the eye could see. We made a quick stop to the Bruny Island honey shop. They have fresh honey, ice cream, and a wide range of skincare products. They even have honey popsicles. Now how cool is that? The last day was a day I will never forget. We saw so many ginormous rocks that went as far as the eye could see when you looked up. We saw whales, seals, dolphins, birds. The day was spectacular. The tour guide even said that this day was probably one of the best days in the entire season. Now how lucky is that? Recommended us to look at the rock formations at a different angle. He took us to the Devil's Kitchen, which completely changed our perspective on how massive the rocks actually were. The Devil's Kitchen truly is the Devil's Kitchen, as it is crazy to see how water can crash upon the rocks and become so powerful. The tour ended with fresh chocolate, a lavender farm, and some super stretchy fig ice cream. The day ended at Sierra Restaurant with cauliflower, calamari, sweet potato, eggplant, lamb, chicken, and of course some salad. We then headed to the Honey Dessert Cafe with some fresh banana roti. We then headed to Salamanca Market on Saturday before our flight home. Salamanca has honey, lavender shops, etc., but the food was the main reason why I was there. We got hot dogs, tempura mushrooms, in which we tried every single sauce available, a sweet dough covered in honey, and probably the softest bagel I have ever eaten in my life. Tasmania was super fun. The food, the great treks, and especially the wildlife. And hopefully I can come again.